Thank you very much for this question. No difference from 16 years ago to today. I think that the very peculiar history of our democracy has as an effect that there has always been polarization in our country, political polarization more than societal polarization. This has to do with our history. Italy, now very briefly and very superficially, but Italy has been the real border between, communist countries and Western countries. And so this is why we do have a political peculiarity that none of the other countries have in Europe. So polarization is the basis of our political activity. And no, the opposition blocks and doesn't want to cooperate. Then, yeah, sure, I mean, things get even worse because of global polarization. Yeah, but the nature of our democratic situation is a polarized one, and I think we will need more decades in order to go a little bit over that. It is very difficult. I've been opposition and government in different moments, but when I was in opposition, I wanted to block. So, there is nothing ideological. I don't feel better than who is at the opposition now. It's a schema. Again, it's a hypocrisy. And then you think that you need to perform that part. Otherwise, you're not a good politician, whereas I am sure that viewed the transformative moment we are living today, that is changing radically even the meaning of human beings themselves, I think that ourselves as key elements of democratic life should give the example and try to evolve our behavior much quicker than the rest of the population in order to show the direction. And we should work together, and we will be obliged to work together very soon, because the challenges to our democracies are so vast that we will not be able, if we stay polarized, to overcome them. Then you may say that the boost for polarization come from other countries and other political systems that are injecting toxins within Western democracies, and that's another issue. But if we cannot understand the seriousness of the ongoing transformation, we are failing in our mission. In my opinion, there are two kinds of trust. One is a moral, ethical trust, and one is a substantial trust. And my fear is that maybe for the very first time in the relatively fresh history of our democracies, the two are intertwined today. The substantial trust, has to do with the true possibility of governments today to make decisions that are really relevant to their citizens. Because the fragmentation of powers, the globalization, the interconnection, worldly interconnection, are all elements that make national governments less in charge and less in power. So, part of that is like why Italian citizens don't go to vote. They say, well, government can do nothing. It's too big. They not have enough power You know, there's European Union, there's UN, there's NATO, what can a local government today provide for its citizens? And this is substantial trust, and this is a huge issue. How you can change that? And probably you don't want to change, because in a growing, interconnected world, in effect, you know, 80% of the laws that are passed here come from the European Union, come from the European Commission, 80%, which means that, you know, it's already a transnational government of our lives that is happening. And so this is substantial trust. On top of that, you do have ethical trust, what I was referring to at the beginning. The fact that due to common interests, politicians have to be a sort of, you know, a part of the society that is not trustworthy, because they are corrupted, because they're inefficient at the best, because they're only interested in their own interests, and so forth. You know, the ethics into politics, it's always ethics. It's always subjective. What is ethical for me is not ethical for you. So that's why I always, you know, I'm always very careful when ethics gets into the political activity. Shouldn't go so far. You know, politics is pragmatism. It's not ethics. Ethics is subjective. Results are objective. So, you know, I think this is something that is more on the level of public debate and, you know, subtracting credit to an important element of democracy, politicians, and then, of course, not all politicians are saints. That is very clear, like in society, no? The good aspect of democracy is that democracy mirrors the society it represents. So there are wonderful people and probably even a few corrupted people, like in society. And you have to accept that this is the nature of democracy. But let's, you know, watch out for too much ethics imposed on politics. If you impose too much ethics, then, you know, pragmatism is lost. And then even substantial trust gets even worse. Sorry, I'm picking up the last two questions, and then I have to go vote. Thank you. Thank you. I hope I'll be able to answer in a few words to all this. I think that, yes, there is an attack against democracies, against the Western style of life, against our view of human beings, and against the shape that our societies have taken. Today in Astana, Kazakhstan, Turkey, Russia, China, and Iran have met. It's a very symbolic meeting because those 4 countries are most important countries, and they are the expression of new developing nations that have an economic and also military power that for the very first time since Second World War, if put together, can contrast Western world. Europe, in this scenario, has become less and less relevant. Our GDP, proportionally to the other countries, is decreasing. We are less relevant. And I think that Europe is the weak fortress for this attack to the Western values. Why? Because Europe is in the process of building up the most visionary, beautiful, democratic architecture since Second World War, which is the European Union. But we are in the process, and it's not easy to build such an architecture. It takes decades. It takes a lot of political will. It takes for every single member state of the European Union to diminish its own national interest for the sake of a broader interest. And this is something that you cannot do just with euro currency. You have to build a culture for that, and it takes time. And while we are along the process, we are weak, because we are in a moment when we are not yet with a completed architecture. So we are a target. And we have to know that, and we have to speed up the process, and we have to, and I rely very much on this new European legislature, this European new Commission starting now. Because if we don't speed up the process, our weakness will grow. And if there is this attack, I think so, to our way of life, they will attack Europe first. So we have to be very, very careful. And this is why I say that today the unity of Europe is the top priority, should be the top priority. Showing and proceeding united. We are not, for the time being, we're not able to do so, but we will urgently need to do that. Because if we do give a sense of unity within Europe, that fortress will be less weak. For doing that, we will have to change some rules and some treaties. Now it will take too much time to explain and to tell, but maybe another time, to change a few rules within the European Union in order to speed up the process. But also, you need a political unity. And this is why, you know, we are experiencing the highest polarization moment, but at the same time, the highest need for being united. Now, if you see what is happening in these very days with respect to building up the new European governance, negotiations among the different political parties, who gets what and so forth, you will see that we are still too much ideological and not enough pragmatic. We are not yet ready to break the barrier of ideology and belonging as political categories. But reality will force us to do that. So being very straightforward, I will expect, again, socialists and popular parties, so center-right and center-left, to work together in Europe, to cooperate together. Whereas in the single nations, you will see that there's a lot of conflict between the two parties, and in Europe they're working together. And probably they will continue working together. And I think this is very relevant, and I think that in a sense, Europe is anticipating what is going to happen at national level in the coming years. If we are able to do this transformation, even the subject of ethics will come less relevant. Ethics is an instrument that you use when you are in conflict. It's always very useful for one part or the other to attack the so-called enemy. if we are able to do this transformation, ethics will decrease. And this will come to a better result for, in general, political processes.
Okay, we have to interrupt and go ahead. Again, thank you very much for your comments. Very straightforward as promised. So that shed light also on the contradiction of the institutional system to some extent. So thanks again also because you managed to I know you have a quite busy agenda, so you managed to handle out, and we really appreciate. So thank you. Grazie, great.
Can I kick off the meeting? I don't know. We should wait for the moderator. Yeah.
Okay. So.
I don't want to steal your
No, don't worry. So again, after, so we will stay physically in the parliament, but we move to some extent to the Ministry of Agriculture. We have the very pleasure to have here a high official of the Ministry of the Agriculture since many years with different experience and above all with working in a straight connection with the European also institutions in the past also. So it's very interesting for us to have your comments, your insight, and to know more about the food protection and all these aspects that have to sort of relevance also in terms of stakeholder participation and lobby. So thank you again for your participation, and I give you the floor to Felicia Senza.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon to you all. I am very, very happy to be here, having accepted this really tough, I would like to, really tough item, because moving from the Parliament to our activity, I would like to warn you, is not so simple. Indeed, when I was summoned in this meeting, I tried to combine our item, that is food quality protection, as a national interest with the main theme of today, this lobbying and transparency in the EU institution. So trying to make it simple, I or my collaborators, that they worked really, really hard. We prepared a sort of a presentation that should give a simple overview of this kind of activity. But first of all, trying to move. Yeah, but I don't see it.
Non si può vedere qua.
No, so it's a problem if I speak loud and okay. Because I would like to follow the diapo. You hear me well? Okay, good. First of all, I guess that the best thing is to present ourselves. So we are Minister of Agriculture, but not only agriculture, but also food sovereignty and forestry policies. I am the head of the department of the Central Inspectorate for the Protection of Equality and Repression of Fraud. We are one of the three departments of the Italian Ministry of Agriculture. We are the main body in Italy, and maybe we dare say also in Europe, for the food quality control in agriculture. We are also meanwhile responsible for a fair trade practice. And the third, our mission is also that we are authority territorial sector. Just an overview how we are articulated in Italy. We have our headquarters here in Rome, located in Rome, and divided in one department, the three general directorate in Rome. One directorate is prevention and fight against the fraud. The acronym is DG-PREF. Another directorate, general directorate, is the DG-COPRES, that is in charge for the fight against the unfair trade practice. And the last one, DG-TER, is in charge for all the territorial offices and laboratories that we have spread all across the country. As you can see, we have 32 territorial offices. The northest one is at San Michele all'Adige in Trentino Alto Adige. The southest one is in Vittoria, in Sicily. Trying to remain stuck to our item, our activity in the protection of quality products could be divided in three levels. One level is national level. National level, it means the protection, that we go over the authorization of the certified bodies in charge for the quality products. Other one is surveillance, other one is controls. The other level, the second one, floor, is EU level, because we have a continuing meeting with the other institution, in charge for the defense of equality in the European Union. Third one is the international levels. So we are talking about those countries that are outside the European Union, for instance, Russia, Georgia, or South Africa, South America, for which our government or our ministry have the memorandum of understanding, bilateral and multilateral agreements. Trying to follow the track, now we have used as exemplification one of the most important national assets in our not only agri-food sector but also in our economic sector, the geographical indication. I don't know if you have ever heard about geographical indication. I guess so. Maybe most of you have heard about Parmigiano Reggiano, Grana Padano, prosciutto di Parma, and so on. So we have used the example of geographical indication, trying to combine how we can protect the geographical indication inside as a national asset, but combine it with all the interests of the lobbying that are inside the country and outside the country. In the beginning, just a sample simplification of the two main most important level of geographical indication. First one is the PDO. The acronym PDO means Protect the Designation of Origin. Parmigiano Reggiano, for instance. So we are talking about a product for which every part of production, so the farm, from the farm to the processing, so the industries or the dairy factory, and the preparation or the seasoning of the product must take place in the same region. For instance, for taking as example the Parmigiano Reggiano, all the third phase, the free phase, so production, processing, and seasoning, should be carried out inside a region or two regions, Emilia-Romagna, part of Lombardia, and part of Veneto. The second level, that is lower, the PDO, is PGI, Protect Geographical Indication. I can pick up for example, the chocolate, la cioccolata di Modica, for instance. Chocolate is a PGI product, But the cocoa from the PGI cannot come from Italy. Come from Africa, could come from South America, or I don't know from where. But the preparation of the product and the seasoning of the product should be made inside Italy. So one of the three phases could be triggered, could be carried out outside. So what does it mean? That PGI has a lowest level respect of PDO. So having told that, why the geographical indications are so important in Italy? Why? Look, just inside, within the European Union, we have 849 geographical indications in Italy. 527 are for wine, the other wine are for food. So we have 322 geographical indication for food. I told you before about Parmigiano Reggiano, Grana Padano, but we can move in the beef sector, in the meat, or in other products. At second position, you notice France, of course, then Spain, Greece, and Portugal. The Mediclab. So geographical indication is also a condition for which the Mediclab inside the European Union are really strong. What does it mean? In my previous lives, I was General Director for the international policies, and I have negotiated a lot of common agricultural policies. And when we talk about some regulation for which, for the geographical indication for quality products, Med group was really strong. So our interest for the geographical indication are the same interest for France, Spain, Greece, and Portugal. What are our antagonists? The Nordics, the Finnish, the Swedish. I remember that when we negotiated the first regulation on quality products in the far 2012, was the first regulation that was some sort of omnibus regulation, so a regulation in which we put inside all the rules in quality products. It was a very difficult exercise. It was a regulation for which Italy was really interested, because it was a regulation that stated not only the basis for the geographic indication, but also rules, sanctions, and penalties, and some provision as ex officio provisions. It was a really important step, the ex officio provision, because it was a provision stated inside the regulation that obliged every country inside the European Union to be active if some sort of imitation, usurpation, or evocation of a quality product in Italy, or in Spain, or in France, or in any country, could be fined in another country. What does it mean? That if we have been told that Parmigiano Reggiano was evocated in Czech Republic, we can write the Czech Republic to the same authority in Czech Republic, and with the ex officio provision, they were obliged to active for move this product and to apply the sanction. And this kind of provision was very important because it was maintained inside the Med group. And so this is some sort of lobby activity. So the activity that we did inside a group that was the Special Agricultural Committee, and then it was moved from Special Agricultural Committee to the Council of Ministers. Just for giving you what are we talking about, these products? What wealth these products? Look, only in Italy, 20 billion euro. This is the wealth of the quality production in Italy, and 20% of the value of the agri-food sector. So what does it mean? That is central inside as a financially, this is a really of the utmost financial importance. And look at the export value. It's more or less half of the value. So most part of these quality products will be forwarded in the export. So increase the export value of our country. Look at this trend of the plus 60% of value. Look at 2012. We started with 2.8 billion euro. Look at actually we are around 5 billion euro of value just only for food. This is an asset really important. This is for wine. For wine, as you can see, we started in 2012 with a very low value, and we arrived just for only PDO plus 12%. So it's an important asset that involves not only the producer. It's not a matter only for the farmers. We are over the farmers. We are more over the farmers. What are our rules? What is our rule? As department, as you can see, we have a global control activity for which we carry out more or less 55,000 control per year. This is our jackpot of control. Okay? But more than 15% of this control are focused only for quality products. So our attention for quality products, as a national body in charge for the controls are very high. Look, 28 of total inspected products and 30% of total inspected operators. As I told you before, when we speak about agriculture or agri-food, it's natural to think only about farmers. It's not physiological to think about farmers. Farmers and so on, no. But this is not a matter only for geographical indication, but trying to understand better the sector, we should consider the entire food chain today. So the product is not the result of the production of the farmers, but is the result of the production of all the food chain. So who are involved in the quality system? As you can see, the quality system covers all the actors in food chain, starting from the territories. One of the main benefits here in Italy for the quality products are territories. You can think about agritourism, for instance, or the street of wine. The territories have had enormous benefits from the quality products. Second one is the farmers. The farmers have increased their added value in agriculture, selling and producing first and selling secondly the quality products. So it's an enormous important value added. The industries, the processing. So the opportunity for the industries to have the possibility to process a product that have more value added. Of course, the retailers, why not? The shelves, where you can choose your product. I don't know if you prefer to choose PDO, PGI, or normal product. Of course, it's your choice. It's up to you. Consumers at the end. So the entire food chain, as the recommendation of the Commission told, from farm to fork, all the main actors are involved in this process. Speaking about lobby, okay, I told you that we have all the food chain, but of course there are lobbies back to those territories that produce complicated one, I dare say, I can assure you. Very, very complicated. And our lobbies for which our dialogue is daily. For instance, agriculture organization, we are also the most important one, called diretti, have you ever heard, Confagricoltura, Agricoltori Italiani, Copaghi Confagricoltura. On the left you see the main lobby that are in defense or that take care of the interests of the farmers. Look, but also the industry, they have their lobby. Confindustria is the main important one. Assocarni, there are also lobbies that are in general defense the interests of all, but also we have also food lobby that are focused just for one product. For instance, Assocarni, they are focused also for the beef sector. The processor, they have their lobby. Speaking about quality product, there is a third way. There is a third way because we have a peculiar situation for which we have a recognized producer group. When you buy prosciutto di Parma at your market, maybe look, sometimes I guess, I don't know if you have noticed that there are the 5 crown Parma, okay? This is the mark, the label of the consortium. In Italian it's consortium, but in English we use recognized producer group. Are the recognized producer, so the pure lobbies, that are in charge for which? A general fair of all the producers. Promotion, they have also the duty, the task of to promote the product in Italy, in European Union, in all the world country. Valorization of the product, consumer organization, support to the market. So we have put just 3, because we have also consortium della Sicilia. So the lobby that take care of the interests of all the main actors inside the food chain of those products. Beside this scenario, there are also another scenario, the worst one. Have you ever heard of about the word of Italian sounding? There's a lot of food fraud of the quality product, the problem of imitation of the Italian product in the world. Have you ever heard? Someone maybe see, someone maybe no. But look, when I showed the value of the Italian quality food, I told you 20 billion. Look at the value of the Italian sounding in the world. 120 billion euro is the value of the products that today are not certified quality products, but are imitation, evocation, or usurpation. So the damage is very high. So this is very important for us because this national asset should be protected. I choose this premise that is the 51 of the new regulation of quality product. This is the regulation 1143 of 2024. Because it's very interesting that the syllogism that is inside this premises. Look, it's highlighted in yellow. The added value of geographical indication is based on consumer trust. Okay? The value added is based on the consumer trust. But geographical indication should be subject to the system of official controls at all the stages of production, processing, of course, the retail distribution. What does it mean, the combine of the two sentences? That if the value of geographical indication is it's based on consumer trust, and the geographic area should be protected with the proper controls. It means that the controls are really part of the added value of the geographical indication. This is very important. So just some exemplification of what I told before about Camera Sergio. So look, mortadella, Bologna. Or of course, Prosecco in can. Or of course, look, Parmesan cheese, but with the figure, a photograph of an emmental. Look, I have been last week in Pennsylvania, New York, and I laughed with my collaborator because beside the Italian stand, a part of the Italian stand there are the world of Italian sounding. Were very, very funny. Look, the white wine. I recommend you white balsamic of Modena, white balsamic of Bologna. This is one of the products that are most counterfeit. The aceto balsamico is one of the most counterfeited products in the world. Or Italian gorgonzola cheese. What is gorgonzola? Italian prosciutto ham, 500 grams. Speaking about lobbies and speaking about operators, we have the experience that a good and right joint venture or a participation of the lobbies in our work has been really effective, has been very effective. This is one of the proof of this activity. During the COVID, the electronic commerce, the e-commerce, exploded. Closed in our house, exploded. So we started to think that was really interested to investigate inside the e-commerce, trying to verify if some imitation or usurpation of the Italian quality product was in the e-commerce. We discovered a world of counterfeit and imitation products. So our first step was to make an agreement with the most important player in e-commerce, the most important marketplace. So we have stipulated an agreement with Amazon, Alibaba, eBay, and Rappi. We want an agreement of cooperation. Very simple. If we discover a product that is counterfeited in your shelves, we should remove it. And that's been very effective because this activity takes part not only the marketplace but also the recognized producer organization that I showed before, the consortium. So we control the consortium control also, and or if we, as a ministry or the consortium or a producer, can find a product that it could imitate, usurpate, or is counterfeit Italian, they make the signalation to our department. They forward the message to the marketplace, and they take off from the shelves immediately the product. Why I told that this is a very effective activity because we carry out normal 5,000 control per year in marketplace, but the percentage of success when we forward the message to the marketplace is 99%. So in the 99% of the case, the product is removed from the shelves. So it's very important. So lobbyists, they participate to this activity of product of the protection of the product. constant proactive monitoring for the web area. We have also specialized operators in our department that day to day, daily, they monitor this kind of activity. Look, this is really funny. Lomoni, not limoni, Lomoni del Gargano, citrus lemon, Gargano is in Puglia, but is 10 kilograms from Sicily. Or the other one is, I guess, the wine, the aceto balsamico. The operators controlled in this activity are all the operators, wholesale, distribution, platform, retail, farms with facility for direct sale. But we also, the important thing that we have also provided for another perspective of this activity is the protection of the domain names. There are a lot of domain names that evocate the quality products, because today it's not the Far West, but it's some of really very free. So today I can register a name, it's Felice Assenza, Parmigiano Reggiano. The domain names are not protected, but we have worked with the lobby, with the European Union. I will show you after this diapo how can we reach the protection of the domain names at the European Union level. I told you before. I told you about the all the regulation of quality products when I spoke about ex officio and so on. And now we have the new regulation. It's a regulation that has been voted in last year, for which we participate to all the phase of negotiation. Of course, we are a body that is in charge for control, so we participate in the negotiation only for the part related to the control. Look, this is just a simplification of our work of negotiation, combined with the work that we did with the lobby, brought a really effective result. As I told you before, we during this negotiation we have as target to reach some part of the rules that are not effective inside the old regulation. For instance, in the old regulation was not the part that recognized the protection in the web. So, what does it mean? That Alibaba, Amazon, eBay, and so on was considered only as best practice, but was not recognized. Was not part of penalties or sanctions. Was just a best practice for which we forwarded the request, and consequently the marketplace removed, take off the product from the shelf. So we worked very effective with all the lobbies, the lobby that I showed you before, and we also with the MED group that are also interested for defense of quality product, France, Spain, Greece, Portugal, and so on, trying to put inside the regulation a specific provision that could defend the web. Look, Article 26. Any other false or misleading indication of as to provenance, origin, blah, 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 so on, or information provided online interface, but look at the first comma, shall be protected against. So what does it mean? That this kind of activity now is protected in a European Union rule. Look, goods sold by means of distance selling, such as electronic commerce. This was a very, I can assure, tough work, really not so simple, because when you negotiate inside the 27 member states, it's not so simple, because first of all, the Finnish one, no, stop this provision. If you want to put this provision, I want to put another provision to the strength of having the lobbies, and the lobbies, the Italian lobbies, they dialogate with the lobbies of the France, for France, Greece, Spain, the MED group, has been conducted to this result. The domain names, as I told you before, was before this regulation was some sort of free zone. Everyone can register a name that can evocate a quality product. Okay? So, this regulation, member states shall take appropriate administrative and judicial step to disable access to domain names. It's not the best solution, of course. There are not, there is no mean that we can find or we can find fine or penalties for this. But why? Because the United States, they were very against this kind of provision, so they made an advertisement to the European Union. Take care, pay attention to this provision. It will be really difficult in our country. So, what was the compromise? The compromise was some sort of win-win between the European Union and the United States, that the member states shall take appropriate administrative and judicial step to disable access. So what does it mean? That we will do it. We will do it. We are not prepared yet, but we will try to make something to protect the domain access. Because if you go, before you, there is another request, but I have told that I don't have time for the request, so just to request because I should go. Was some sort of win-win. We will do it. I don't know when, I don't know how, but we will do something to domain names because it is really a free zone. At the end, I guess that we have distributed, Silvia, you have instructed, our report has been distributed. Okay, so you can find inside what I told you before in the report, but in the report there is more, not only for quality products, but all our activity. So it's really our holistic approach of our activity. Of course, if you have a part of the two questions, because I'm sorry, but I don't have the time, but I do appreciate if you wanted to write to our department if you have other requests. Please.
Just a curiosity about e-commerce and simplification. When you decide to make it ban from the shelves, you had to buy. How were you sure that the product wasn't the standard, or you had
No, sometimes we buy.
you had to buy, or
But we
just
don't use it. We buy, but we don't use it. It's really simple because the first thing is the label. I would like to tell you that we are improving this kind of activity because we have a project with the University of Trento and Verona for a system of EA, for artificial intelligence, that can increase a lot because this kind of activity now is handmade activity. So our operators stay close to the screen and they monitor, try to find everything. In a year, or I hope maximum 1 year and a half, I guess, I assume, yes, yeah. We will have this prototype of artificial intelligence that can improve this activity because the system has worked 20 hours for 20 hours, and we feed also itself with the counterfeit and so on. But it will not substitute the work of the operator because it's the operator at the end that we choose it or not. So we see and we check the label. And if the label is misleading to evocate, to want, and they are really interested in this
They are
activity
not
because,
going to investigate.
yeah,
so
yeah, but they have also an investigation unit, but they work closely with us for this activity, and they are really proactive because the last memorandum of understanding that we have signed, they state not only this activity but also exchange of experience, training the session, and so on. So they are really interested in which that they should sell a product that is this kind of product. So last one, I'm sorry.
I was just wondering, the like geographical identification, if any kind of part of that, like if the owners had any sort of bearing on it, just because like, you know, if it's, for example, like a change from region or whatever, but it's still owned by like a Chinese or American company that's like reducing costs, that kind of seems to defeat the purpose. You know, like even if you have grapes from Champagne, you know, it still needs like the double fermentation from Champagne. So yeah, I was just wondering if they're like the processes that went into it are a part of the geographical.
Okay, good. Do you mind if Michael, because I have
So it's just like for the geographical identification, if the if the processes involved in making the product have a bearing on whether that product receives that marking, because I mean I imagine, because I know like conglomerate farming is becoming an increasing issue. If like these special products being produced in these regions as owned by conglomerate farms kind of, I suppose, reduces the benefit it offers, and also it kind of has an influence on like the success of like an input of lobbying if if these massive conglomerate farms kind of supporting their own protection against those things. Yeah.
Okay.
we are sorry, but the time is running out. So
The-
if you have other questions, you can write. We will.
Share, can we share your slides? Okay, okay, so we will find in the drive the slides.
We left also the report. You can find
Okay.
inside all the addresses if you have other questions. We know that this kind of line was not really simple to combine with the main item, this office and so on, but I try to do my best in this beauty. If you came 10 years ago, maybe it was simple for me, and it was
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Good. Arrivederci.
Grazie molto, davvero, per il suo tempo.
Arrivederci.
Davvero. Arrivederci, arrivederci. Arrivederci, arrivederci, grazie. So, Jasmine, guarda se c'è Okay, so we're gonna have like really 2 minutes of break, and then we're gonna have our last speakers. Okay? So let's welcome our member of the government, and now we have the opportunity to be in dialogue with Marco Cerase, who is consigliere parlamentare, conselor, how do you translate in a better form, which is the highest level of the parliamentary official, so he can bring really, I think, a very interesting perspective in our debate, being also part of other experience in the past, also being the chief of cabinet in an executive in a ministry for regional affairs, and moreover being also, I would say, a legal scholar in the sense that he has got many publications on legal affairs, so he can have a kind of mixed view that could help us in order to better understand the phenomenon of lobbying and know also his perspective, being part of the parliamentary structure. So it's my very pleasure again, and thank you for your patience also, because we are running a little bit late in the agenda, so thank you for kindly wait, and I give you the floor to you with any further hesitation. Thank you.
everybody. Nice to meet you. So first of all, does anybody of you know the meaning of lobbying, the origin of the word? Do you know it? Do you want to share it with us? Don't be shy. You were saying yes? There is no wrong answer. You can try.
Well, hi. The origin of the word lobbying was well, it's an American word, and it is used to describe the influence that pressure groups try to make in decision makers. Because a few years ago, in a hotel, the journalists and businessmen used to wait for the President Lincoln at the lobby of a hotel, and that's why it's called lobbying, this technique of influence.
That's true. That's one version, but there is also another older version. So the lobby was the room outside the House of Commons in the UK, so it's even older, where, as you were saying, people waited for politicians to influence their decision. So basically, what do lobbyists do? They have different kind of issues they want to bring to the attention of politicians. But of course, as Marco was saying, the political action cannot be, let's say, constrained or influenced by those individuals. So they can just bring to the politician some issues, bring up some issues, and then the politician must be autonomous in his decision. So strictly related to the lobbying is the transparency. And in order to guarantee some level of transparency, the Chamber of Deputies introduced a registry where all the individuals that perform whatever kind of lobbying activity must register, and they also must provide at the end of the year a list of all the encounters they did, the meetings, the issues that they touched upon, the interests that they were bringing forward. They can be individuals representing third parties or even individuals representing themselves also. Maybe they are part of a company, etc. So it's very important, this registry, which is a smaller version of the European Transparency Registry for lobbying activities, because it keeps track of what's happening inside the House in terms of meetings and lobbying activities in general. In case they do not report all the information properly, they will be banned from the Chamber of Deputies for 1 year or even more, even the whole legislature if they did something particularly wrong. So this is the main source that the Chamber of Deputies has in order to ensure that the principle of publicity and transparency are maintained in the lobbying activity, which, as Marco was saying, is not regulated by any other form of law. Though at the moment the Chamber of Deputies is conducting parliamentary investigation on the subject matter, because they want to, again, in each legislature they begin with a parliamentary investigation, they hear a lot of subjects, and then they try to put forward a piece of legislation, but it never see the light. So yeah. We had only one incident with the registry in 2011, if I recall well. It was
probably later.
Yeah, it was later. Yeah, with President Fico, but yeah, some subjects were just banned because they didn't report all the information I was telling you before properly. But this is the only source that we have to be sure, being safe, that all the activities are conducted in a transparent manner. And then we have also regulation of a code of auto-conduct for the deputies, which states that they cannot receive gifts above 250 euros, but this is more related to bribery and stuff like that. Is not. I know that sometimes bribery and lobbying can be seen as similar, but they are actually two very different activities. Lobbying is a professional activity and bribery is a criminal activity. So that's it. If you have any question or intervention, we are happy to answer you.
I do have question, but I think it's better if you have some. I think we heard a very interesting picture about what's going on here, and please.
Hi, good evening, and thank you
Could
for
you please introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Esther,
Yeah.
I'm from Italy. I know that you have this register, but the Senate doesn't. Why is that? And the other question, so I heard before in the other speeches that there's no political will to pass such a law on lobbying. Whereas so I'm a lobbyist because I work for a business trade association, and at least from my point of view, lobbyists do not have problem with such a law, because for us it's also a matter of reputation, so to be in a register, to be transparent. So I think that the problem comes from the other side. And since you have been working with politicians for a long time, why do you think that there's a lack of political will? Maybe it's just because there are other priorities. But so I'd like to know your opinion about this subject. Thank you.
Other questions? Well, may I just add, if in your opinion, this register, does it work? I mean, it can be something that could be considered useful in your opinion, in your experience also, and if not, how also in your role of chief of cabinet, the relation with lobbyists that are not formally, don't formally exist, took place. That would be also interesting, if I may add.
so at least in Italy, so our constitution must guarantee equal opportunities to everybody. So if we don't have a regulation and we just let Ryanair or the bigger, the stronger to win all the time because there's no regulation, so we are.
You think that
No, I don't think that.
on
No,
lobbying would correct that?
maybe not, but I think that to do something and then implement it will show at least a will to do that, to guarantee equal access to Parliament, for example, for everybody, and this could be a first step. So I don't think this is the solution to every problem, because I also think that politicians should express or should state their interest publicly. For example, if they have a company that deals with, I don't know, we were speaking about agriculture, so I don't know, if a politician is also an owner of a farm, for example, it's important to know that, because...
Okay, but that's the conflict of interest.
Yes, that's exactly. So I mean,
That's another
these are all different issues, but I think they are connected, and I think that in Italy there is a lack of transparency sometimes. For example, when you deal with independent authorities, this is different because they have a process that they established and then implemented. I'm speaking, for example, because I work with them sometimes, the Transport Authority, the one in Turin, for example. If you, as an association, you present observation to them, they, in a public consultation, they answer, and they said, okay, we didn't decide to put this thing in a decree, or because, or we decided to accept your observation because. And I think that this process works. And I mean, it works for everybody, because you know the reasons why they agree upon something or they disagree, and it helps, I think it helps everybody. More transparency, I mean.
Okay. Transparency. The minutes, the journal of the House is on internet even before the sitting is over. We have the journal and the minutes of the House as a whole, the floor of the House, each and every committee. Bills are published on the website. Amendments are published on the website. How each and every member of the Senate and the House has voted on each and every amendment is public on the website. So I would say that parliamentary procedures are absolutely transparent. I mean, there's no doubt about it. You were talking about the public consultation procedures of independent authorities, such as the art of the transportation, AGCOM, the telecom agency, even the antitrust. All these are independent regulatory authorities, agencies that conduct this kind of public consultation. And it's true, they will answer in their official papers why they did not follow up or pick up the suggestion of so-and-so, such association and such other syndicate or whatever. Those bodies, however, are not elected by the people. Representation, political and parliamentary representation, should be, and often is, I would say. I would be dishonest if I denied such. It is most who and what is represented. So I think oftentimes, not because I work and not because we contribute to what is done in here, which even would be a legitimate pride, but as I said, I'm afraid, as I said, oftentimes the criticism of Parliament is a criticism of who elects Parliament. So, as I said, I see your point. Perhaps legislation in this domain could bring about some progress. It might, but I think I'm guessing why these bills never reach the milestone or the end of the road. They don't, because according to me, in the end, people go up to members. They can go to political parties. They can go to unions. The channels to get the members are many. Some people may be inaccessible, probably so. I don't think that, at least in my experience, as I said, I'm only giving you a personal opinion. I don't think that it would make things significantly more transparent. The transparency of what? Of the meetings that a member had? Would it not be a legitimate interest of that member to keep his agenda in some way concealed? You can see how he voted. You can see what bills he signed. Is it a legitimate interest, for instance, to know why he didn't sign a bill, or why he didn't sign on a question to the government, or why he left the room before a voting is taking place? It might. So what? I don't know. You want to add something?
Just wanted to add something on the transparency registry. So it was established in 2016 and then implemented in 2017. Of course, it's a first step towards some sort of transparency, but of course it could be further implemented because it's basically an autofill by lobbyists on all the meetings that they did. There is no particular control. Yeah, there are some kind of controls, but they are not very specific. So yeah, it's a first step, but it could be further implemented before they come up where this stands.
Control made by you.
A stricter control should be made by the chamber, yes. And as far as the regulation concerned, I do agree with Marco that I was a second point. It could be interesting to have maybe the national registry for all the public institutions, such as deputies, government, and Senate, and just to see who the politicians are meeting. But then again, as I was saying, as Marco was saying, there are pros and cons, and we are in a parliamentary democracy. And so, as Marco was saying, it's more important to have this kind of system and this kind of transparency in countries like the US. They have a full political system, and also ways of elections. Or in Europe, because there are several countries with several interests. Yeah, we could introduce a bill just to have further transparency, but this won't solve the problem of bribery or people or politicians giving more weight to a big tech company rather than a small tech company. I don't think it would solve this kind of issue.
Hi everyone. A question related to what we are talking about. What I would like to have some comments from you about the the funding of the political parties in Italy. We know that the system is very different from the Anglo-Saxon one, and I'd like to know what you think about, of if you can give some insight, I don't know, some idea. Thank you.
Yeah, that's, I was afraid that was coming. It's a related problem. It's not the same problem. It's a related problem. It's a, the problem of political parties, of how political parties get their funding is I would say, century old at least. And
Okay, so I would not abuse too much of your time, and thanks again for being able to be here, even a bit late. So I deeply thank you, Marco Cerase and Elisa, for your comments, for bringing food for thought. We are a little bit tired. It has been a long day, but it was an intensive summer school, so you knew. But again, thanks. We will continue tomorrow also bringing back all the insight that have been provided by our speakers, and we will continue tomorrow morning. Again, thank you very much for the hospitality also.